Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going over and doing 3 different looks, including the one that I'm wearing right now with the Natasha Denona Large Zendo palette. This is an extension of the mini palette, which, gotta be honest with you, I don't see the correlation between the two, but we'll get into that. I'm going to give you guys all the information, the swatches. We'll get into the 3 different looks, and then I'll give you guys my opinion as well as some comparisons. This is a $65 palette, so as you guys know, this is the smaller one, which I'm so glad that she went with that, because I just think that pretty much all of her palettes should just be this size, but that's just my personal opinion. I like this price point better. I don't think I've hit pan on any Natasha Denona palettes. I don't think so. She comes out with a lot. But this is an extension of this little palette right here, which is the mini Zendo. I'm just going to put them side by side. I'm sorry about my voice, you guys. You're going to hear it go back and forth, and I explained that in one of my tutorials. Like, I just don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe they are distant cousins, but to me, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I do think it's a beautiful palette. In this palette, we have the traditional mattes in here, metallics, duochromes, and then we do also have some creamed powder. However, one that is listed, this one right here, Relief, this is not. I was touching, I was like, I don't get it. I don't think this is a creamed powder. And it's listed on the box that it is, but then on the website it says that it's not. So I think that this one was mislabeled. I'm gonna read the description about the palette while I show you guys the swatches. It's described as a warm-toned palette inspired by the mini Zendo with hues of pink, brown, coral, and peach with pops of turquoise. It provides maximum color payoff with minimal effort, ensuring pro-level results. It allows seamless blending to achieve vibrant and neutral, long-lasting looks with a range of shades that allow you to create natural everyday looks and the most dramatic evening glam. All right, now let's get into the 3 eye looks. This one will be last. I'm going to start off with the shade Calm on a Zoeva 227. I'm going to start on the very outer corner of the eye, the lid, bringing it into the crease, going in for a bit more, and I'm starting in the crease this time. Bring it a little further up, and then I'm going to take it on this inner corner as well and bring it upward. Same brush, I'm going to dip into Balance, and I'm going to do basically the same thing, but this one's a little bit darker, so one dip, I'm going to go back and forth and then start blending upward. I'm leaving a little bit of a gap in the center, kind of creating that halo eye. Same shade on a Refer number 3. I'm placing this right along the lower lash line. I'm sorry, my voice has been going in and out. Like, it clears up and then it starts to get kind of like crackly again. Ever since, I guess I don't think I told you guys actually. I was in a car accident on Mother's Day. And I don't know what it is, but yeah, my voice keeps going from normal to like this, and then it just keeps going back and forth. I don't know. Clean brush right around the edges of that. Wayne Goss number 20 in the shade Mindful. Going to deepen up the outer corner as well as the other side. Like I said, doing a little bit of a halo eye. If you saw my comment on, it's like a pinned comment on the video I actually uploaded on Mother's Day. I wasn't able to get to the comment section, like I just fell really hard behind, and so I just left a message there. So if you saw that, you know, but I was not driving. Puffin was driving, and we were actually going to get flowers like to put in the ground, and that's what I like to do on Mother's Day. And I don't remember the accident, but apparently we hydroplaned, and I don't know. I think the SUV is totaled. I don't know. I'm waiting to hear from the insurance company. Again with the same brush, picking up Vigor. And again, I'm doing the same thing. Basically, I just want to make this have like a little hint of that red in the eye look. I'm going to drag this one just a little bit further up with the excess. Adding some for the inner corner. Going back in with that 227. I didn't pick up any additional product. I'm just very lightly going around the edges, like it's barely touching my skin. Then I'm going to add a little bit of Vigor on my 03 and just add it to the lash line, lower lash line. Luster on a Refer 21, placing this on the center of the lid and blending outward. Now, there isn't anything lighter in this palette for me to highlight the arch with, and I want to kind of connect like this to the eye, like the center of the eye. So I'm using my highlight for my face, and this is the YSL 3D Oliver Glow Powder. So it's nice and subtle. And I'm also going to place just a little bit of that on the inner corner. Going back in with that number 20 brush, no additional product. Just to make sure I've got the depth on this outer, I want it to be a little bit smokier. Then lastly, I'm going to take Mindful on a 718 tiny pencil brush from Delium Tools. And I'm going to place that right up against my lashes. Moving on to the other eye, I'm going to start off with Relief on a Refer number 1. Going directly into, ooh, that's more pigmented than I had thought, or more coral than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to do a really good job of blending this out. Bring it to the inner corner and outer corner before I start going upward with it. And now go in circular, soft motions. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. I don't know what I was expecting. It looks just like it does in the pan. Wayne Goss number 20, Vigor. This is the same brush I used on the opposite eye with the same color. I'm going to have to build this one up a little bit. If my energy is a little lower, I'm sorry. I still have ringing in my ears and everything from the accident. I'm just like, if that could go away, that would be great. So I'm still healing. But I wanted to get this out for you guys. And I'm really excited about trying it anyway. Even if my energy is low, I really wanted to play with this. So I'm placing on the outer corner and blending it into the crease. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I love that. Same shade on a Refer number 3. Taking that along my lower lash line. Next, I'm going to go in with Aura on a Sonia G Worker Pro. Placing this on the lid and lightly tapping over Vigor and bringing it slightly up into the crease, just a little bit. Refer 21 and Tranquil. This on the inner corner, blending over the last shade. Bristles Beauty EO3 DM in the shade Sense. I'm going to go on the outer corner and into the crease a little bit. Back in with Vigor on a Refer 3, running that along my lash line. Esom T9, taking the shade Luster. And you could finish with just this if you don't want to dip outside of your palette, but I am because I want to add a little bit of a highlight to my brow arch. So again, with my highlight, I'm highlighting my brow arch. And then I would go add on inner rim liner and mascara, but I'm not going to because I'm just going to go wash these off and I'm going to come back for the look that I'm wearing now. For the look that I'm wearing today, I'm going to start off with Balance on a Zoeva 227. I'm going to start right above the crease and in the crease on the outer corner. I'm going to slowly buff this in and work it slightly upward. I am not going to bring the shade all the way in because I'm going to put a different shade right on the inner corner or inner crease area. Refer number 13 and Breath, placing that on the inner portion right here and going up, connecting to the last shade, but I'm not going to try and blend these together so much because this is a cream to powder and the other one is a matte, so they're not going to blend together right here as nicely. Plus this shade is much lighter and brighter and that one's darker. Wayne Goss number 20, going in with Mantra, placing this on the outer lid. Love this color. Working it into the crease. And then I'm going to start softly blending upward. I would say it's essential to use stiffer brushes with these cream to powder shades, like more of a workhorse brush. That's why when I went in with this one in the corner and this outer corner, they're shorter and they're goat hair and they blend much easier. Going back in with Balance on the 227, just a tiny bit. I'm going to bring that right around the edge of that like green. Refer 14 and Zeal. I'm going to deepen up this outer corner again, or further I guess. I love how mattes go on top of, well, I like how all the shades go on top of the cream to powder. I feel like they grab a hold of the mattes and the shimmers really, really nicely. Equilibrium on a Sonia G Builder 3, placing this on the center lid as well as dabbing over the last shade and going slightly up into the crease. Flow on a Mario E5, placing this on the front half of the lid from the inner corner and lightly over Equilibrium. Making sure I bring it up. Want them all to merge together really nicely. I'm going to touch up Breath just a little bit. I want to bring it out just a little bit more because I'm going to be putting a shade right in between here. Refer number 3, back in with Mantra. Taking this on the lower lash line. I'm going about 3/4 of the way in, but not all the way. I'm also lightly going to take that right across the lid. I don't want it to be too dark. I just want to add just a little something there. Refer 21 and Yama, placing this on my brow arch. I love this duochrome. It is so pretty. Same shade on a P06 RF from Bristles Beauty. I'm first placing this on the lower lash line, right where we kind of skipped with the green, packing it on the inner corner and then kind of going upward with it, right in between the two shades. Then after I have this exactly how I want it, I'm going to go add on inner rim liner and mascara. Now for my thoughts on the palette. I am kind of in between. I like it. I wouldn't say that I love it. I love this look. I really do love this look, but I'm a big fan of the cream to powder shades. I feel like I already have this. When I look at this side right here, I feel like it's the bronze palette, and then over here, I feel like I have a little bit of the gold palette, a little bit of Tropic, and just other shades that we already have seen. So it's kind of like a mixture of her palettes put into one. So if you have all of Natasha's palettes, I don't think this is something that you would necessarily need. The quality is definitely there. The mattes are pigmented. They blend out really nicely. The metallics are on the softer side. I noticed that they're still metallic and they still have that shine and they still apply well, but they're not as shiny and metallic as some of her previous palettes. So if you like softer metallics, I do think this will be a good palette for you. And I really like the color range in here. I think it's gorgeous. I love this duochrome. I think it is so pretty. The only shade in here that I think people might have an issue with is this one right here, the one that I have on my inner corner. If you apply it all over the lid, you're gonna have to go in with a couple layers because it can get patchy, it can. But in the corner, or if you're gonna use it in your crease, it works well. But on the lid, it can be a little iffy. Overall, I like the palette. It's not something that I'm gonna grab for all the time, but I do think it's a good quality palette. But with that being said, let me go ahead and show you some comparisons. I'm gonna start off with the Natasha Denona comparisons. If you're really into that warmer side, I would say just get this palette. This is the bronze palette. The shades are not identical, but I feel like if you already have this bronze and you only are going to be using this side of the palette, you're not going to be dipping into the blues, I wouldn't get this. Here it is beside the Sunrise palette. This top just keeps wanting to go down. There we go. You can see there are some similar shades in there as well. Again, if you're just looking at only this side of the palette. This is the most recent before the Zendo, the Circo Loco. This one is definitely more vibrant. The colors are just way more out there, but I wanted to show you guys just in case you were curious about those side by side. Then here is the Tropic. Now you wouldn't think that too many of these shades would be similar, but they kind of are. This is a little bit more pastel, but you still have like those warm shades and the blues and greens. And this one is just a little bit deeper. And then really, if you have the Metropolis palette, especially if you have the Metropolis palette and the bronze, it's like, you don't need this. You don't need it. This is my most loved palette. I think you guys can tell. And then there's two palettes that I wanted to show you guys that are not from Natasha Denona, just in case you have them. This is the Secret palette from Nabla Cosmetics. There you have that one side by side, as well as a new release from Kaleidos, the collection with Angelica. This is Club Nebula. I personally think that Club Nebula is like a little bit more bright and fun. Overall, I like this palette. I think it's definitely worth the $65. It's beautiful. If you don't already have those other ones, I would suggest it. Just keep in mind that it does have 3 of the cream to powder if you hate that formula, and that this one can be a little patchy if you want to put it all over the lid. And one other thing that I want to mention is that I am going to be reaching outside of this palette to create looks. As you saw with the first two, I wanted a brow bone highlight. I just had to have it, which isn't a big deal, but it is something that I want to mention. And then even when it comes to the blues, when I do other looks, I will probably reach outside of the palette because I would like a more neutral brown to go with it. But hey, overall, gorgeous. Let me know if you enjoyed the video by giving a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.